Hi, I'm Marshall Brown. Welcome back to Water Matters. Most Long Islanders take their drinking water for granted. They turn on the tap, the water comes out, that's pretty much it. Oh, if they only knew how hard some people are working to protect the quality of that water. On this edition of Water Matters, we are delighted to welcome Adrienne Esposito, co-founder and executive director of Citizens Campaign for the Environment. Over the past 30 years, Adrienne has been at the forefront of many of the most important environmental issues here on Long Island, from upgrading failing sewage treatment systems to leading the opposition to giant LNG barges in Long Island Sound. Adrienne has fought tirelessly on the public's behalf. But the work is never done, and today Adrienne is here to talk about a new threat to our drinking water, one everyone on Long Island needs to know about and can do something about. Here now is Adrienne Esposito.
Marshall, thanks so much for that introduction. And the hot topic, as we know, is 1,4-dioxane, also known as the hidden carcinogen. 1,4-dioxane is actually found in many, many products. And unfortunately, you won't find it listed on the label. 46% of household products now have 1,4-dioxane in them. The reason that's of concern is in 2003, the EPA listed 1,4-dioxane as a likely human carcinogen, meaning, of course, that it causes cancer. Causes cancer of the lungs, gallbladder, kidney, liver, skin, and breast. So what products have it? This is the most common question we get at our office today. And out of those 46% of the products are things like detergents, shampoos, dish detergents, laundry soaps are a very big culprit. And one of the biggest products that are a surprise are things like baby wipes and even baby shampoos and baby bath products. The presence of 1,4-dioxane is in topical products such as things that are absorbed into the skin, and that's another way that people have exposure. It's not only by drinking the water, it's also through inhalation and also skin absorption. Ingredients you should look out for. And here's where we get frustrated because it's almost like you need to have a chemistry degree. People have asked us time and time again for a products list, and it's very, very challenging to do that. There are such incredible chemical names as you have to look for things with oxanol, you have to look at things with lauryl sulfate, laureth phosphate, and unfortunately this becomes very cumbersome for the regular person to go to the store and look for these types of products. Also, the marketing hides them. Many products are listed as all natural or organic, and we find out they also contain 1,4-dioxane. Such products are things like Huggies Natural Care Products or baby wipes, such things as Aveeno Baby Calming Shampoo. And this was very disturbing to us. But the real issue is not only about products, it's about our drinking water. 1,4-dioxane is considered an emerging contaminant of concern. And therefore, that means there isn't really a lot of science on it, and we don't have a particular drinking water standard for 1,4-dioxane. What happens is that it defaults to a generic standard of 50 parts per billion. That's a generic standard for all volatile organic chemicals and not specific to 1,4-dioxane. That's a problem. EPA has told us that they have a cancer concern standard of 0.35 part per billion. That is a far cry from 50, which is the generic standard that New York and the nation is currently using. We have found through our research that 1,4-dioxane, unfortunately, is a critical problem for Long Island's drinking water. In fact, the bad news is the EPA did 4,400 tests of water suppliers across our nation, and the highest levels of 1,4-dioxane were found right here across Long Island, with a heavy emphasis for Nassau County. You can see from this map, the red dots show levels higher than the 0.35 parts per billion, which is the cancer concern standard set by the EPA. These are the highest levels that were detected in these water companies or water suppliers across Long Island. Well, we need to do a couple things. We need to clean up what's already there, and we need to prevent future contamination. Cleaning up what's already there has proven to be a little bit tricky. The technology is just coming on the market now. thanks to New York State DEC, which gave a grant to the Suffolk County Water Authority, which developed a new technology to filter out 1,4-dioxane from drinking water supplies. It's harder than you think. They have a new advanced oxidation system, which proved to be very successful last year. They're expanding the program this year, and hopefully within 1 year, more water suppliers can be using it. CCE has developed a comprehensive report. It looks like this, and an interactive map system. The map, if you go on our website, you can click on your water district or the water supply well closest to you, and it'll tell you what the highest level of 1,4-dioxane has been over the last couple of years. And that'll give you a sense of if this contaminant is a threat to your water district and to your drinking water supply. What we'd like you to know is that there is a lot that can be done, whether it's protection of drinking water in the future, which means companies have to filter out this contaminant before it becomes a problem. They can do that, but right now the FDA only has a voluntary program for that, and it's not mandated. We need our elected representatives, such as Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, to call on the FDA to mandate that companies take 1,4-dioxane out of the product before it goes to market. As I mentioned, some do it voluntarily, but not all, and they should. We also need to expand this drinking water technology so that all water districts that have a 1,4-dioxane contamination problem can use it. That means we're going to need a little help from the state with the funding of those filtration systems. Our water districts can't do it alone. The good news is we can solve the 1,4-dioxane problem. New York State is moving now to put a drinking water standard in our regs for New York. They gave the EPA 3 months and said if the EPA won't move, New York State will move on its own. We congratulate Governor Cuomo and also the New York State Health Commissioner who made this pledge back in February to the public. We're going to hold them to it. Developing a drinking water standard for New Yorkers and Long Islanders is the first step to solving the 1,4-dioxane problem. And we need that standard so water districts know what to treat the water down to and how to protect public's health. So this is really going to be a partnership between the state regulatory agencies, manufacturers of this, the water districts, and the public. So we can once again rely on our water and not be concerned about a new emerging cancer-causing agent. The good news again is that we can solve the problem. The bad news is it's a big problem and we need to move swiftly. We're hopeful we can do that. We need the public participation to help move the solutions forward. Thank you very much.
Everyone wants a nice-looking lawn, and everyone wants clean water to drink and safe water for swimming, boating, and fishing. But chemical pesticides and high-nitrogen fertilizers are contaminating our drinking water and contributing to fish kills and algal blooms in our bays, rivers, and streams. The good news is you can have a great-looking lawn without those harmful products. Most garden centers carry non-toxic lawn products, and many of Long Island's top landscape contractors offer natural lawn care services that make your property look great and protect our water at the same time. So, if you love Long Island, join the campaign to keep our waters clean. Go to ilovelongisland.org, take the pledge, get your lawn sign, and show your neighbors you care about the health and safety of the place we call home. ilovelongisland.org.
If we're going to solve our water issues on Long Island, we'll need an informed public. Jump-in print materials about water issues on Long Island can be co-branded with your organization's logo and are available at no cost to local nonprofits on Long Island and for minimal cost to local agencies and water departments. To learn more, please visit our website at liwater.org or call our office for more information. Let's spread the word about Long Island's water.
Welcome back to Water Matters and our guest, Adrienne Esposito.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, another educational but alarming presentation.
Yes, the news is not great, honestly. Our goal really is to get this chemical addressed before it becomes a really important problem. And I think we're on a good track to do that, and that's the good news.
Now, how long has this been going into our environment, and from what sources?
That's a great question. There are really two sources. One is industrial contamination, leftover legacy contamination, and that's one of the reasons that we believe that Nassau County has some of the highest levels in the nation. The first is because we drink from a sole source aquifer, and all that industrial contamination has seeped down, and we believe that's one of the main reasons why 1,4-dioxane is so prevalent and has become ubiquitous in Nassau County. But the second reason is because of all these household products, 46% that use or have 1,4-dioxane in them. You know, the interesting thing is that 1,4-dioxane is not an ingredient. So when we go to the store and look for it on the label, it won't be there. It's a byproduct of all the ingredients that are put into these products. So it doesn't need to be listed by law, and therefore it isn't. So the two main sources are industrial waste and household products. When the products are used and they go into a septic or a sewage treatment plant, there's no filtering, and it just goes right into groundwater or surface waters.
Well, 46% of the products have dioxane in them. What about the 54%? Why are companies then voluntarily removing it?
Yes, some companies have already gotten on the bandwagon and are voluntarily stripping it out before the product goes to market. The FDA actually has an advisory document that advises companies to do that. We're saying that's not good enough anymore. It needs to be mandated. Why do we just advise companies to strip out a possible human carcinogen? It shouldn't be optional. It should be mandatory to protect the public's health. And the FDA really needs to get on track here with the 21st century concerns and get it out of our products. We shouldn't be bathing in it. We shouldn't be washing our hair in it with it. And we sure as heck shouldn't be drinking it.
Well, we should also reward the good actors and let the public know who's doing it right and who not. What companies, what products don't have this in it?
I couldn't agree more, actually. And part of our struggle is, and when I tell you we did extensive research to try to weed through and see who has it and who doesn't, we couldn't even develop a consumer's guide, which we were very frustrated with. We know that Tide has the highest levels, Tide laundry soap, particularly their product called Free and Clear. I guess it's free and clear of everything but 1,4-dioxane. Even such laundry soaps as Arm & Hammer, which I was devastated because that's the one that I use, and I thought it was way more natural. So one thing we're really hoping to do is we've applied for some funding to do independent testing of laundry soaps and dish detergents so we can put out that consumer's guide and arm the public with the right scientific information about what to buy and what not to buy. And we got so many calls at the office, and every time I do a presentation on this, people ask that question. And we really want to be answering it with some good recent science. And that's what we're hoping to do as part of the next step. So it's a great question, and we're hoping to develop a great answer sometime soon.
We could also approach the manufacturers and say, look, we're putting together a guide for consumers as to what products don't have this in it. Could you tell us what products are free and clear of this?
Yes, free and clear is good. And that's going to be part of it also. There has been some companies that came out and told us this, but we don't want to publicize that yet. We need to verify it. You know that old saying, trust but verify, and that's going to be part of this project.
What percent of Long Islanders know of this problem right now?
Well, I would say before our report was released, 0. But I have to tell you, we were inspired by the public's interest and engagement. We released this report. We got some terrific help by News 12 and Newsday. In 2 days, the interactive map, which tells people where the hotspots are for 1,4-dioxane, had 30 to 40,000 hits and shares. So for 1 day, just on Long Island, that was quite a record for us. We were very happy with that. But the public was calling the office. We actually had to stop everything we were doing and just take calls for a few days. People wanted to know what they could do, how they could be involved, what they could do to help the issue. The state got very active very quickly, which we're happy about. The health commissioner has himself come to Long Island twice The DEC Commission has been to Long Island just for this issue. So we do see a lot of interest by the state. We've seen a lot of interest for the public and a lot of engagement. So we're very happy about that, but we're going to take all that energy and make sure it builds momentum so that A, we get a drinking water standard for New York State so we know how to protect our health. Some states have done this, but not many. It's only about 5 or 6. Unfortunately, and this is scary to me, frankly, Marshall, we're still using in New York this generic standard of 50 parts per billion. When other states have looked at this, they've used either the EPA standard of 0.35
Okay.
or some
150
states...
times less.
Yeah. I mean, that is crazy. 50 is a far cry from 0.35. Some states have used 1, 2, but none have used higher than 3. So we really are very anxious for New York to come up with a health-based standard for the public here. And they can't do it quick enough. We know it has to be thorough. We know it has to be science-based, and we know that, and we appreciate that, and we respect that. But it also has to be done expeditiously.
Is this available on your website?
This is available. Just go to our website, citizenscampaign.org. We have a whole section now, 1,4-dioxane. It's a growing section. The report is there. The interactive map is there. Unfortunately, there are some places on Long Island that have the national record. The Hicksville well, which had 44 parts per billion, which is the highest in the nation. They've taken that well out of service. Yeah. That was very nerve-wracking.
And what was there previously that contributed to that? Do we know?
We believe that's industrial contamination.
Like from military or factory?
Both.
Yeah.
Hicksville's a hot spot for all of those things. But then there are some sections too, like Valley Stream. They had 10 parts per billion, 12 parts per billion. And, you know, if other states have a drinking water standard of 1 or 2, that's pretty concerning. There were some places, there were some in Suffolk that had levels of 5, 5.6. So it was really a mix, and people should just go on the website and check it out. But again, I want people to know these were the highest levels detected. The average was less than that. But, you know, if it spikes once, it could spike again. So we are dramatically concerned, and we really, as I said, are pushing towards a resolution.
Well, as you know, on Earth Day in Babylon, April 22nd, we're launching the I Love Long Island campaign, and thanks for your organization's participation in it. We're going door to door with the kids. We got these lovely signs here.
Oh, great. Those are beautiful.
And information cards on how...
I'll hold these up so people can see them.
But my point is this: if we're going door to door regarding pesticides and lawn fertilizers and how that affects our water quality, it really wouldn't take much to have another piece of paper distributed regarding dioxane, informing the public around that.
Well, hopefully I don't know if we'll be able to have a consumer's guide by then, but that's true. But we go door to door also, and we will be distributing it. But I do want to say, you know, it's all connected. So you're exactly right. Whether it's pesticides or fertilizers or using, you know, chemicals at home that we don't even know we're using, it's all connected because all of this stuff ends up in our drinking water and in our surface waters. And that's a real concern. And we really have to make the transition from a chemical society to one that's really toxic free. It's healthier for us. It would help our sustainability and the livability of Long Island and our waters. So pesticides are known to be poisonous, right? We know that. They are designed to kill things. And if we're using them on our lawns, it always struck me odd that we herald in spring, and it's about rebirth of flowers and the birds, and then we throw pesticides all over our lawn, killing the birds and killing weeds and flowers. So it doesn't make any sense to me. It's contradictory. But all of those things, as you're saying, and we wish you much luck in this project, because a clean water and clean bays is really what Long Island's all about. That's what everybody wants, but we all have to participate as well.
I've heard that we put some 5 million pounds of pesticides on Long Island every year. Is that Does that sound familiar to you?
Well, there are a lot of estimates out there.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the pesticide registry that the state has needs to be updated. You wouldn't believe, Marshall, that still in this day of age, that lawn care places and pesticide applicators are supposed to fill out a form once a year and send it to the DEC so we could track that. But it hasn't been modernized. It's not computerized. So they're still filling out hand forms, mailing it into the state, and then it takes the state to have staff to enter all this into a database, and of course they're several years behind. It should be modernized. It should be a form that's filled out online, goes into a database. The data is readily available for all of us to look and see.
It could go a lot faster if they were all zeros.
And we wouldn't even have to do it if they weren't using it. That's correct. So we're working with the DEC to get that modernized. I will tell you that's a slow process and slow progress in that. Very frustrating.
Though I will say that the microbead victory, I think, sort of, foreshadows what could happen here. And,
Absolutely.
I mean, I didn't think that it was going to pass anywhere near as quickly as it did, and it happened.
Right, I agree. Look, it really takes public engagement. Our saying is you got to get up, show up, and speak up. And that's how you make change. And you know what? When the public does that, that's how things get done. Whether it's locally in your county legislature, whether it's in the halls of Albany, or even in Washington, D.C.
I couldn't agree with you more there. The Citizens Campaign is fundamentally a grassroots organization, and it's been our approach too, to start with the people. If we want to change how what products are sold, we need to change consumer awareness first.
That is exactly right. That's exactly right. True change happens with the public sentiment behind that change. And so we feel it's our role at Citizens Campaign for the Environment to give people good information, but then give them direction on how to use that information to change policy. Good science, good public participation, and good common sense yield good policy.
Well, I'm looking forward to working with the Citizens Campaign to make sure that this substance gets banned as quickly as possible. I mean, literally, lives are at stake.
I agree. And thank you so much for inviting me on the show. I appreciate that.
Been a real pleasure. Thanks again. So good seeing you, and thanks for making the trip up here.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Water Matters. I'd like to thank our guest, Adrienne Esposito, Citizens Campaign for the Environment, and all of you who are tuning into the show, because here on Long Island, water matters.